Hey there, Ben Mankiewicz with you. Thanks for joining us on TCM. Every Friday in April, we're bringing you a lineup of films from one of the most influential movie makers of all time, Roger Corman. During the 1960s, Corman's low-budget films, which he produced and often directed for American International Pictures, took chances on stories and themes that the more conservative big studios would balk at. You know, balk at isn't strong enough. Run away screaming, "Never call me again." More like it. Sometimes Roger Corman's movies hit the jackpot, inspiring imitators who wanted a piece of the pie. Up next, one of those influential hits, the granddaddy of the modern biker film. From AIP in 1966, directed by Corman, The Wild Angels. Peter Fonda is Heavenly Blues, the leader of a motorcycle gang. Nancy Sinatra plays Mike, his old lady. These outlaw bikers are focused on cruising the California roadways, drinking cheap beer, and engaging in generally antisocial behavior. When one biker, named Loser, played by Bruce Dern, gets his wheels stolen by a rival gang, things spin out of control. Roger Corman had become fascinated with the Hells Angels and other biker gangs, certain that a movie about them could not miss. Corman viewed the Hells Angels as modern-day cowboys, with their bikes replacing horses and the open road as their frontier. It did not take much to convince AIP, who quickly greenlit this production. To keep costs down, Corman used real bikers as extras. Corman paid them $35 a day, plus $25 more if they brought their bikes, and $15 more if they brought their girlfriends. Corman, though, soon learned that real bikers could sometimes act like real bikers. On occasion, things got violent. Several were on the run from the law, and some bikers gave Corman protege Peter Bogdanovich a real-life beatdown when he appeared as an extra in one scene. Bogdanovich, who would later direct The Last Picture Show, What's Up, Doc, and Paper Moon, worked as an assistant director on The Wild Angels. He also extensively rewrote the script. Corman spent 3 weeks shooting mostly in the desert and mountains near Palm Springs, California. He got no permits. We just did it, Bruce Dern later explained. It was the beginning of what you know now as real guerrilla filmmaking. From 1966, also with Dern's then-wife, Diane Ladd, as well as Michael J. Pollard, with a memorable Great Fuzz guitar soundtrack by Davey Allen and the Arrows. This is The Wild Angels. Back in 2016, the Wild Angels producer and director Roger Corman joined me here on TCM to talk about the film as part of a spotlight on movies released by American International Pictures. Here now, a bit of our discussion following the screening. We're back with more from the director of The Wild Angels, my co-host for TCM's Spotlight on American International Pictures, Roger Corman. Roger, this is 1966, and I don't think you could release this movie today, 50 years later, because the Angels, again, you don't sugarcoat them. At one point, there's a funeral scene, and the casket is draped in a swastika flag, and there's some Nazi regalia in this movie. Was the mood different in 1966, or did you intentionally do that to shock audiences a little bit to show just how sort of outside the mainstream these guys were?
I did that because that's what the Angels did. They had a Nazi regalia. Chuck Griffith, the writer, and I went to a number of parties with the Angels. We were welcome because we brought the marijuana. And we just observed what they did, and we saw that they had this Nazi regalia. And again, it was an attempt to be truthful.
Any pressure to take that out, change it, soften it?
No, there was no pressure. The little bit of problem at the end when they had sort of an orgy scene in a church at the death of the funeral of Bruce Dern, they cut out the establishing shot of a church and put in an establishing shot of a funeral home, which I guess they felt that was too much. I was somewhat angry and still am because I wanted to be, and it was a church.
So, am I correct in that you originally went to Jack Nicholson to write The Wild Angels?
Yes, I talked to Jack about The Wild Angels. He wanted a little more money than I had, so he didn't write The Wild Angels, but he wrote the follow-up picture, The Trip. Jack was a very good writer. If he had not been such a good actor, I'm convinced he would have had a very good career as a screenwriter.
So many of the supporting actors in the film, real members of Hell's Angels?
Yes, only a few of the members of the Hells Angels gang were actors. Everybody else was a member of the Angels. Again, I wanted authenticity. So I had the Angels, I had their bikes, and we had their old ladies, which was their girlfriends. It was interesting because I negotiated with the head of the Angels so much for the Angel, so much for the bike, so much for the old lady. They wanted more money for the bikes than for the old ladies.
Wild Angels received a prestigious and completely unexpected honor in 1966, an opening night screening at the Venice Film Festival. The U.S. State Department tried to have the invitation revoked because of the movie's anarchic violence, but the festival's director called it, quote, one of the most important films of the past 10 years. In the States, the movie packed in audiences at theaters and drive-ins, becoming Corman and AIP's biggest moneymaker to date. AIP quickly enlisted Corman to produce a follow-up. In 1967, Devil's Angels, starring John Cassavetes, rumbled onto movie screens. Coming up, Peter Fonda and Bruce Dern return in a story about another group of 1960s outcasts, experimental drug users. Get ready to turn on, tune in, and drop out, because The Trip is next on TCM.
Next on TCM, The Trip, then Gas, and later, Bloody Mama. Get the gory details from Roger Corman tonight.